Let's talk about something we've all probably felt at some point, that really complicated knot of jealousy, especially in a relationship with another woman. It's something we don't talk about much, but it's so common. So today, we're going to dig into what's really behind it.
I mean, it's a question that can just throw a wrench into our most important relationships, right? And look, jealousy isn't just a woman thing, not at all. But what the sources we're looking at point out is that there are these specific life situations, these moments that seem to create the perfect storm for this kind of dynamic to just explode. So, to really get a handle on this, we're going to break down 4 classic scenarios where you see this pop up. First, that classic family triangle, the mother-in-law versus the daughter-in-law. Then, we'll look at friendships. What happens when a best friend meets the new girlfriend? After that, the emotional tug-of-war between an ex and a current partner. And finally, we'll dive into a rivalry that can last a lifetime, the one between sisters. All right, let's start with probably the most famous one of all, the one we see in movies and hear about all the time. We're talking about the tension that can flare up in a new marriage, especially between the two most important women in a man's life. Okay, so picture this. For years, a son is completely devoted to his mom. But then he gets married. All of a sudden, his wife becomes his number one priority. That whole dynamic just shifts. And with that shift, a huge sense of insecurity can creep in. I mean, a mother who's used to being the center of her son's universe suddenly feels like her position is threatened. The source we're looking at says a lot of mothers really struggle when their son slips from their apron string. And here's what's so wild about this. Look at what's happening here. Both women are feeling the exact same fear, just from totally different perspectives. The mother-in-law is scared of being replaced. The daughter-in-law is scared she hasn't actually become the priority. They're both just wrestling with this deep insecurity about where they stand.
And the poor guy in the middle, this quote just sums it up perfectly. He's totally caught between two people he loves, trying to juggle all these competing expectations. And as the source says, he ends up feeling like he's being completely crushed in the middle of it all. It's an impossible spot to be in.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. We're going to see how this exact same dynamic can play out and even break apart a really deep friendship. We're talking about that situation where a guy has a close female best friend, and then he gets a new girlfriend. And boom, just like that, the whole emotional landscape changes. The best friend, who used to be the main confidant, the go-to support system, she suddenly starts to feel like her position is threatened. Because now there's a new girlfriend who holds a different but very central role in his life. And look, it's the same pattern again. You've got two people who are feeling insecure about their place in his life. The best friend is thinking, is my value going down? Am I losing my special spot? And then the girlfriend is over here wondering, why does he even need another female best friend when he has me? It's that mutual insecurity that just fuels the jealousy between them. All right, scenario number 3. This one feels like it's becoming more and more common these days. The ex who hangs around as a friend. And wow, can that add a whole new layer of complication to a new relationship? So, a couple breaks up, but they manage to stay friends. Everything's cool. But then, the guy moves on and finds someone new. Even if the breakup was totally friendly, seeing someone else step into your old role, that can stir up some really complex feelings. That emotional space that the ex used to occupy is now filled, and that can be a really jarring thing to witness. So you end up with this really tricky triangle, right? The ex might be feeling a little bit of regret, maybe some what-ifs. Meanwhile, the new partner feels totally threatened by their shared history. And this is where the source makes a really interesting point. It says the responsibility is really on the man to set clear boundaries, and most importantly, to make his current partner feel safe and secure in the relationship. Okay, for our last scenario, we're going way back. We're talking about something that often starts in childhood and can literally last a lifetime. The rivalry between sisters. And where does this jealousy often come from? Well, according to the source we're looking at, you can often trace it right back to one place, the parents. And it's usually not on purpose. They unintentionally create this rivalry by constantly comparing their kids. By holding one sister up as the gold standard, they end up planting these little seeds of resentment and insecurity. I mean, can you imagine being constantly measured against your own sister? You hear comments about who's prettier, who gets better grades, who's the better dancer. It's not just a comparison. It implies that one of you is inherently better. And that just creates this sense of competition in a relationship that should be all about support.
This right here, this is a direct example from the source, and it's just heartbreaking. It perfectly shows how one careless comment can create resentment that lasts for years. It basically tells a child that her worth is tied to looking like her sister, a standard she might never meet. And that can lead straight to feeling jealous and just not good enough.
So, we've walked through 4 totally different situations, right? We've got in-laws, friends, exes, and sisters. But you've probably noticed there's a common thread, a single emotional core that connects all of them.
And this is it. This is the heart of the whole thing. The jealousy, it's not really about the other woman. Not really. It's about a deep, deep fear of being replaced. It's that awful anxiety that your position, your importance, the love you get, it's all about to be taken away. Think about it. The mother is afraid of being replaced in her son's heart. The best friend is scared of being replaced as his #1 confidant. The ex fears seeing her old role taken over for good. And the sister is afraid she's being replaced as the better daughter. Each scenario is just a different mask for the exact same fear. The jealousy is just the symptom. The real disease is the insecurity of losing your place. So, think about your own life. Where have you felt this? Maybe you were the one feeling jealous, or maybe you were the one who was causing it in someone else. Now, look, understanding this isn't some magic wand that makes the problem disappear, but it does give us a really powerful tool: empathy. Just realizing that the other person is probably acting out of fear, that same fear of being devalued or replaced, that can be the very first step toward having a little more compassion for everyone caught in the middle.